going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. We got some MLB news. The Padres have signed Michael Wacha. He got a very weird contract. It's there's like a bunch of player and team options in it. It could be as much as 4 years and $24 million. So that's a weird contract. So it could be as much as four for $24 million. Last year he had a rookie when he was healthy. In 23 starts, he was like 11-2, like a 3.1 ERA. Pitched really well. Probably his best year since when he first came up with St. Louis. He was the guy when he first came up with St. Louis. Looked like he was going to be an ace. Never really turned out. He had some injury. Hasn't really turned out the way that people thought he would. But last year for the Boston Red Sox had one of the best years of his career, but had some injury, which has been the main thing that has really plagued him. But he signed to San Diego, so it's a nice move for San Diego. Obviously, you got an incredible top three there with Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, and Blake Snell. But you add Seth Lugo, who's been a very good reliever for the Mets, came up a starter. Was up and down as a starter in his career at the Mets. Turned into a very good reliever, but has always wanted to start. So he got an opportunity to start, so that's why he came over from the Mets. He's going to be one of their starters, and now Michael Wacha will probably be their fifth starter. And Lugo and Wacha were with the Mets in 2020 together. So those two know each other. I'm not sure if that factored into it or not. And then Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo will fill up that rotation. And you also have Nick Martinez there for depth. Mike Clevenger, the White Sox starting pitcher, who's currently being investigated by MLB for domestic violence and child abuse, and obviously very serious and horrible stuff. He is going to be able to play at the start of spring training. He's not being put on administrative leave yet. Just wanted to let everyone know that. So as this investigation goes on, I'll get the information to all you guys, but I'm not going to speculate on this issue until there's more information. But he has not been placed on administrative leave yet. Just want to go over all the rule changes in MLB this year. They banned the shift, and so you have to have 4 players on the infield dirt, and you have to have 2 on each side of second base. So you can shift still a tiny bit, but not nearly as much as you used to. A lot of people they get stupid. Oh, how can you stop people from playing basically stop them from positioning their players where they want. I never like the shit. I think I don't think it's good for the game. I mean, yeah, I don't mean to be hypocritical. I mean, I've also come out and say, you got guys like Joey Gallo complaining about it, saying, I shouldn't hit a line drive to right field and be ground out. My reaction to that was just hit the ball the other way. But I don't really think the shift is good for baseball, to be honest. And baseball's got a lot of problems of why the game is boring. The game takes too long, and things like that. So I think that this will help. There's a pitch clock. It is 20 seconds with runners on base, 15 seconds with no runners on base. So I'm not a huge fan of trying, of speeding up the game too much. If there's ways you can do without affecting the game, I'm okay with it, especially since the game is a little slow. It's not for like me. I'm a diehard baseball fan. Baseball's my favorite sport. I will always watch baseball for as long as I'm alive. As long as I have a pulse, I will watch the New York Mets till the day I die. But it's the casual fans who are they're not as into it as people like myself. And it's like, the Mets are on. We can flip a channel. And they're watching it, and right now I wouldn't be surprised to this is boring. I'm turning this off. I'm going to Netflix. So they're definitely taking too long. I've always been against the pitch clock, but apparently they tried out this pitch clock in the minor leagues last year in AAA, and apparently the games on average were 26 minutes shorter. So if that's the case, I'm definitely all for it. Obviously, I'm sure that they'll enforce it in spring training. I'm hearing, in spring training could get a little. I'm hearing there could be possibly some arguments because the umpires are probably going to be very strict with it in spring training to get people used to it. And like the rule is, if the pitcher goes over the pitch clock, it will be an automatic ball. So it is what it is. If it speeds up the game as much as it did in the minor leagues, in the minor league it sped it up by 26 minutes per game on average. I am all for it. And now the average game right now is probably touch over 3 hours. Now you're creeping much closer to 2.5 hours, which is what pretty much all the other games are. I mean, football is about 3 hours, but obviously football is football. The games are there's the game's gonna be games a little longer. There's always something happening. Baseball not so much. Basketball is usually only about 2.5 hours. Hockey's only about 2.5 hours. Baseball is just north of is a little over 3 hours. It's a first and like football is always something happening. Hockey's pretty much always something happening. Same for basketball. Baseball, not necessarily. So which is why they gotta speed up a little bit. If they can get it at least to like close, if they can get somewhere close to that 26 minutes a game off, then I think it'll be worth it. So this is something I think if they can shorten the games by 25 minutes a game, I think you do that. But if it doesn't make a huge difference, if it's only a couple minutes, I say in 2024 you get rid of it. So probably trial. I say hopefully it's a trial and error thing. Hopefully it works. The batters will have 30 seconds in between batters to step into the batter's box. If not, I believe it might be an automatic strike. It might just be called out. I think it's an automatic strike. I don't mind that. You shouldn't need all you do. You obviously you stand in the on deck circle. Once your turn to bat, you take one more practice swing. You take the donuts off your bat. You throw it back in the dugout. You walk up to the plate. You do your little routine. Maybe you let a practice swing. You dig in, whatever, and you go. That doesn't take more than 30 seconds. They have bigger bases. They're a few inches bigger. That has no. I don't have a problem with that. They're trying to prevent injuries like guys when they dive back into first base a lot of times for years. They've jammed their fingers. Guys have gotten seriously injured that way. I don't have. If it protects injuries, I'm all for it. It doesn't really affect the game for me. I don't have a problem with that. Then there's two I absolutely hate. The shift I'm okay if I see why people hate it. I'm okay with it. Pitch clock, I'm willing to give it a chance. 30 seconds for the batters to get in the batter's box is fine. You shouldn't be taking more than 30 seconds anyway. It doesn't take that long for you to walk from the on-deck circle to the batter's box, even if you take an extra practice swing or something, or some guys like one saw do a little solo shuffle and if they're superstitious like that. Bigger bases, I can care less. The permanent ghost runner in the regular season is so stupid. It's dumb and it's pathetic. Thank God they're not doing it in the postseason, but starting in the extra inning for runner on second makes no sense. That's something like I umpire Little League in the summertime. If my boss told me when I was applying when I have to apply every summer, hey, by the way, there's a rule this year for extra innings, I'd be fine with it. That's like a Little League rule. Maybe high school ball. That's high school baseball is like the highest level of baseball. They should have that rule. I got it during the pandemic, and that was a wacky year with only a 60-game season and no fans and the height of COVID. I understood it then because guys were there's gonna be pitchers getting hurt all the time because they start spring training late and they started and stopped and spring training was very rushed and they had a very short season. Then the rushed off season. Then the next year. I got it, but these last 2 years, when you've had a full 162-game season ended on time, I don't understand it. I don't. Thankfully, they're getting rid of it in the postseason at least. And they have 2 pickoff attempts per plate appearance, and if you do a third, the runner gets to advance the base, so it's basically a balk. That's so stupid. I don't mind speeding up the game like a little bit to get the casual fans get more to get to bring in the younger demographic and to try to bring in more casual fans. That's just a good marketing strategy. So the pitch clock I'm willing to give a try, but to have the only the 2 pickoff attempts per play period, that's stupid. What if you have a guy like, Trey Turner on first, who's one of the fastest guys this league's ever seen? I don't know why a pitcher shouldn't want to throw over 4 times. And it's everything. Even if he just steps off, doesn't even throw, that counts. That is so dumb. Some of these are so dumb. A couple years ago, they put in the 3-batter rule, or you just finish the half inning. I don't get that either. From a couple of years ago. I'm okay with the universal DH, but some of these rules the Manfred's putting in are just stupid. By the way, I'm hearing that balks are going to be enforced more strictly. I'm sure the main ones probably, if they do 3 pickoff attempts per plate appearance, the runner moves, they get the runners they move a base, so it's basically a block. That's my feeling on the MLB rule changes. Moving on to hockey, scores from last night. Canadiens beat the Blackhawks 4-0. That's a crap hole game. Canadiens and Blackhawks, Jesus. By the way, Patrick Kane says the 2 teams he wants to go to are the Maple Leafs or the Rangers. I'm hoping my Rangers get him. He's wanted to go there for a couple of years. Not the same player he wants, but still a very good player. Can still help us if we pick up Tarasenko and Kane, plus Mika and Panarin, Kreider, all these other guys. Rangers could have a scary offensive attack. Hurricanes over the Capitals, 3-2. Devils over the Blue Jackets, 3-2. You had the Senators over the Islanders 3-2 in a shootout. Senators rookie goalie, 46 saves in his debut. Wow. I'm telling you, the Islanders offense still isn't good enough. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Blues over the Panthers 6-2. The Jets over the Kraken 3-2. The Bruins beat the Stars 3-2. They keep rolling. Lightning over the Avalanche 4-3 in a shootout. And the Penguins over the Sharks 3-1. By the way, David Quinn, glorified college coach. Great college high coach, not good NHL coach. He wasn't that good with the Rangers. And on paper, maybe he should have gotten the end of the year. And it was weird the way they fired the front office when they fired Quinn. Overall, that team should have at least made the playoffs in one of his 3 years there. I know, the first year was there, they were not good. The second year, they had the COVID, and they probably would have gotten in. But this last year, they should have been at least a 7 or 8 in the Eastern Conference, and they weren't. And the Sharks team isn't great, but they're barely even competitive at this point. The standings, not too much change in the East. Boston and Carolina at the top, and you got New Jersey is in third. Tampa and Toronto both have 72, but Tampa's got a game in hand. Tampa's currently in fourth, got the Rangers in sixth with 70 points. Rangers are playing very well. They've won 5 in a row, points in 8 of 10, 7 of those wins. Then Pittsburgh and Washington, 63 and 62 points. So Pittsburgh moves up to the 7, Washington's down to 8. Islanders are a point out. Florida is 2 points out. You got Buffalo at 6 points out, as is Detroit, who's playing a little bit better. Ottawa's playing a little better. They're 7 points out. You got Philly at 8 points out. They are a little bit better. And then you have Montreal and Columbus rounding up the Eastern Conference. In the West, Dallas Stars are at 71 points. They lead the West. Winnipeg is in second with 69 points. Vegas is in third with 68 points. In fourth is the Kings with 67. Seattle Kraken are in fifth with 66. Edmonton is in sixth with 65. West is really tight. Colorado moves back into playoff position. They are in seventh. Them and Minnesota both have 61. As does Calgary, but Colorado has played 52 games. Minnesota with 53. Calgary with 54. That's why it goes Colorado and Minnesota have the last 2 spots, and Calgary's on the outside looking in. Nashville is 5 points out. Blues are 8 points out. And then you have that big clump of bad teams. Vancouver, San Jose, Arizona, and how did Chicago are all basically out of it. Or most of them are completely out of it. They're like 15 points out, so all the teams are pretty much out of it. West is really tight. You got the 2 through even the 2 seeds, and then the first team out is Calgary. They're all within 8 points of each other. That's crazy. The Western Conference playoff is going to be very exciting. On to college basketball. Your games from last night. Number 6, Kansas beats Oklahoma State 87-76. Oklahoma with an upset over number 12, Kansas State 79-65. Number 24, Providence beats number 18, Creighton 94-86. You have the Syracuse Orange pick up a win. They upset number 23, North Carolina State 75-72. So I'll update you on the rankings. This is what they are for this week. Alabama is ranked first. For the first time, I believe, about 20 years, Alabama is the top-ranked team in college basketball. Obviously, we know in football, they're number 1 every year, it seems like. But in basketball, it's the first time in, I think, 20 years they've been ranked first in basketball. Got Houston at second. Purdue drops to third from first. They had a couple of tough losses. UCLA is ranked 4th. Kansas at 5th. Texas at 6th. Virginia at 7th. Arizona 8th. Baylor 9th. Tennessee runs up a top 10. Tennessee lost 2 games in a row on buzzer beaters, so that's tough. Marquette is ranked 11th right now. You got Kansas State at 12th. Gonzaga at 13th, not having quite the year they usually have. Indiana at 14th. Miami is 15th. Xavier is ranked 16th. St. Mary's at 17th. Creighton at 18th. Iowa State at 19th. UConn is ranked 20th. San Diego State is 21st. TCU is 22nd. NC State 23rd. Providence 24th. And Florida Atlantic 25th. I gotta say, kudos to the Big East, which obviously is not near the conference it once was. A bunch of teams, are right there. I mean, obviously, I wish Georgetown was a little bit better, but obviously they're not. But Marquette is really good. You got Creighton's having a nice year. Is UConn the Big East? I believe UConn is maybe. I forget what conference they're in. If they are, they're right there. Providence, who last year was very good. Last year we thought could make a run. Didn't quite happen. Still were a decent team. They're ranked. Kudos to them. Maybe it's because I'm from New York. I go to college in Connecticut, so we, our local teams usually aren't very good. But Justin just said to me, Justin and Liam helped me in the back as they've been doing. He said, "Shout out Sacred Heart." Yeah, Sacred Heart. Not they might have a shot of in the NCAA tournament, but they probably won't even win that. They're not very good. But I'm not sure if you guys can hear them. I don't think you can. I'm trying. I gotta figure out how I can get them from the back to talk. I might have to talk.
Guess like that with Mike 9.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear them, but hopefully you can. If not, I promise I'll get that fixed. Hopefully in the next week or two. I gotta ask the guy who built this thing. He's on leave right now. But anyway, a bunch of local teams by me who usually are good, are doing good. Rutgers isn't ranked right now, but they have been most of the year. They could get into the tournament. They probably will. Providence is in Connecticut. They're ranked right now. UConn is ranked right now. They are top 20. They're usually good. Their women's team is always actually right now a little better than expected. So that's nice to see. NBA scores from last night. Raptors over the Magic, 123-113. Jakob Poeltl, 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 blocks. Big game for him. Wow. You got the Bucks over the Celtics, 131-125 in overtime. Jrue Holiday for 40-burger, 40.7 assists. Derek White, 27 points and 12 assists. He stepped up with Tatum out in the last few games. Been playing very well, Derek White. We know what he does defensively, but all of a sudden he's scoring a lot. Suns over the Kings, 120-109. Generating 29 points and 11 rebounds. Clippers over the Warriors, 134-124. A lot of high-scoring games, wow. Kawhi, 33 points and 7 rebounds. And the Wizards over the Trailblazers, 126-101. Kristaps Porzingis, 28 points and 12 rebounds. Dame at 39 points, 10 rebounds in the loss. NBA standings right now. Boston's still leading the East, but Milwaukee has won 11 games in a row. There's a half game behind Boston for first in the Eastern Conference. Then got Philly in third. Cavs have won 7 in a row. They're in fourth. Brooklyn is in fifth. Miami's in sixth. Knicks are the first playing team. They're a half game behind the Heat for the last spot for not being in the play-ins and in the actual playoffs. Atlanta 500 is in eighth. Toronto's 3 games under. They are in ninth. Also 3 games under is Washington. They are in 10th. Just that Raptors have played 2 more games than them. Bulls are a game out of the play-ins. Indiana is 3 games out of the play-ins. Orlando is 4 games out of the play-ins. And then Charlotte and Detroit round out the Eastern Conference. Detroit's a half game worse than them right now. In the West, Denver now has put the 5-game lead for first in the West. Memphis is in second. Sacramento is in third. In fourth, you have Phoenix playing a little better now that they're healthier. Of course, we're going to get Kevin Durant. Look out. That team could be scary. We'll see what happens. Clippers are in fifth. Dallas is in sixth. Clippers are a half game ahead of Dallas. First playing team is New Orleans. In the 8th spot is Minnesota. 9th spot at exactly 500 is Golden State. And that last playing spot right now is Utah. By the way, There's a slow market for Russell Westbrook. Clippers, who we thought he could go to. Paul George, former teammate in OKC, was recruiting them. That makes a lot of sense. There really hasn't been any traction there. I heard Miami could be a fit. We'll see. I heard the Bulls might be a fit. I don't really get that. Bulls at best will be a play-in exit. Then you got the Portland Trailblazers are a half game out of the play-ins. OKC's a half game out of the play-ins. Lakers are 2.5 games out of the play-ins. And the Spurs and Rockets round out the Western Conference. West is really tight. The 3 through 10 seeds are all within 4 games of each other. That's crazy. Very tight in the Western Conference. All right, NBA All-Star Weekend is approaching. So I want to go over all the skill stuff. I went over the 3-point contest yesterday, by the way, for the exact date, this Friday. So in 2 days is the All-Star stuff, the All-Star skills stuff. Starts Friday, then Saturday. I think Saturday we have the skill stuff, and then Sunday is the All-Star game. The skills challenge will be, once again, the Antetokounmpos. You have Giannis, of course, star player for the Milwaukee Bucks. You have Thanasis, who's a bench warmer, but he's one of Giannis' brothers. Also one of the Bucks, and Alex Antetokounmpo plays for Wisconsin Hurl. I believe that's a G League team or something. He is also in for the second year. They have those. The Utah Jazz trio: Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, and Colin Sexton. Clarkson is a solid player. He was 6th man of the year a couple of years ago. I like Walker Kessler. He looks like he's very similar to Rudy Gobert. He's a nice double guy. And Colin Sexton's a nice young point guard. And then you have the rookie team of Paolo Banchero, who right now I think is rookie of the year by a long shot with the Magic. Jaden Ivey with the Pistons, and Jabari Smith with the Rockets. All those guys were top 5 picks. But Banchero was the top pick. Ivey was ranked number 5, and Jabari Smith was ranked number 3. In the slam dunk contest, which by the way is going to be judged by Jamal Crawford, Lisa Leslie, who's a very famous women's player, Karl Malone, Harold Miner, and Dominique Wilkins, of course, one of the greatest dunkers of all time. You have Kenya Martin Jr. from the Rockets, a young guy on the Rockets. Trey Murphy III on the Pelicans. Mac McClung, who was in the G League. The Sixers just signed him. And Jericho Sims for the Knicks, who a lot of people might not know. He hasn't played too much, but he's a backup center on the Knicks. Really young, got the craziest hops in the world. I'm a little worried. The dunk contest last year was horrible. And overall, the contestants are arguably even worse. I went on the 3-point contest yesterday. So that's the All-Star skill stuff. By the way, the All-Star game, the rosters are going to be drafted like a couple hours before the game. That's going to be very exciting. And it is official. The Arizona Cardinals have hired Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon as a head coach. He's done a very good job with the Eagles defense the last 2 seasons. We'll see how he turns out as a head coach. I think it's a pretty good hire. We'll see what happens. Yeah, but the Titans hired Justin Newton as a running backs coach. They have Derrick Henry. It can't be that hard to coach. He was not a good offensive coordinator last year. I don't know why he was a hot candidate for offensive coordinator. I know most of it was on Hackett and Russell Wilson, but some of it's got to at least be on Justin Newton. He'll be the running backs coach and the run game coordinator in Tennessee, who's retooling their offensive staff around Mike Vrabel. Yeah, the Texans hired Corey Yundlin as their defensive backs coach. He was the defensive coordinator for the Lions in 2020. The defense did not perform well under him. They also had Matt Patricia as their head coach. That was a mental situation, so it was far from all on him. He's done a good job as the DB coach for the Niners. Of course, he worked under DeMeco Ryans, he was the corner before he took the Houston job. So they bring him in, and it's official. The offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton will not be brought back. We got the only color coach news. The Commanders and Bucks still have not hired an offensive coordinator. The Bucks are still looking. They're going to do today. They're interviewing the Rams tight ends coach Thomas Brown for a second time. He's been a hot name for offensive coordinator this year. Has even gotten some head coach interviews. Aside of that, Dan Pitcher started to stay with the Bengals. I don't think they've interviewed anybody else a second time. So the favorite right now is probably Thomas Brown, the Rams tight ends coach. We'll see where that goes. And then the Commanders' offensive coordinator job is still open. They're going to interview Eric Bieniemy. This is an interesting one. Obviously, Miami's been a head coach candidate for a few years. Hasn't gotten the job, is that whole thing. I won't get into that. You're like, why would he leave the Chiefs? He's not under contract. He also, last year, was not under contract either, so there was rumors he might leave the Chiefs and go be out the corner somewhere else. He ended up re-signing a one-year deal with the Chiefs. And he's not out of contract, so he's going to interview for the Commanders' offensive coordinator job. That's what something that looks like it's going to be happening. They interviewed a bunch of other guys. They interviewed also Thomas Brown. They actually interviewed Anthony Lynn, the running backs coach for the 49ers. He's a great running backs coach, but he was not a very good head coach for the Chargers. I don't think he's that good of an offensive coordinator either. He was offensive coordinator 2 years ago with the Lions, was not very good. They interviewed Pat Sherman from our Broncos offensive coordinator. I heard he probably won't go get the job. They interviewed Eric Sudfeld, the running backs coach in Miami, as well as their quarterbacks coach, Ken Zampes. So, if they can get Miami, that would be a huge deal for them. They got to get a quarterback first. But, so that's what I got for that. Derek Carr is officially a free agent. The Raiders officially cut him. We'll see where he goes. I heard the Jets could be a suitor. I heard the Saints, who were trying to trade for him, are still a suitor. I think the Commanders could be a suitor. The Commanders' defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, was his head coach with the Raiders at one point. I think he'd be a good fit there. He's got nice weapons there. He actually has a defense there. I think he can make the playoffs with the Commanders. By the way, I want to talk about something. Well, what the heck was going on with that Super Bowl field in Arizona? How did the Cardinals play on that field? Michigan TCU had the same problem. They got to fix that field. They spent $800,000 on it. For that? What the heck? I thought they were playing on a freaking slip and slide. So stupid. Well, let's talk some wrestling. I'm going to recap SmackDown from Friday, from a few days ago, and then Raw from Monday, a couple days ago. Let's start with Friday night SmackDown. The highlight at the very end, you had Sami Zayn ran to Jey Uso backstage, and he said, hey, Jey Uso was like, dude, I can't be talking to you, and he was like, I understand, but I just want to say thank you for everything you've done, and like he's saying, I acknowledge you. And said, like, I don't think Roman's happy if he's like, you don't gotta go down with the ship, go down with the ship, and there's a way out is, and then they fist bumped. So very, very interesting. You had the Undisputed Tag Team Championship, Jey Uso, he came back and joined his brother Jimmy last minute, and they beat Braun Strowman and Ricochet to retain the titles. You had Drew McIntyre returning to defeat Hit Row in a tag team match. By the way, Hit Row, they are horrible. Absolutely horrible. They're funny. If Ashante Adonis and Top Dollar and you got Beef as their manager, they're funny, but good lord, they are horrible. They're one of the people, they're a young tag team, in NXT, they got called up, they flashed, then Vince got rid of them. Triple H was one of the people that Triple H brought back. I heard a while ago, Triple H was not happy with them. He's got to be kicking himself. He's probably talking to the higher ups there. He's like, guys, I might just cut these guys again. These like, I want to turn to Vince, and cut young talent like these guys. Like these guys couldn't win a match in junior high school wrestling. They're terrible. Freaking Top Dollar jump over the top rope and just completely misses. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Lacey Evans defeated Carmen Perez. I don't know what they're doing with Lacey Evans' character. I don't know what the heck is supposed to be. Ronda Rousey and Natalia, came out. Started, shit talking Shayna Baszler, calling her a Ronda Rousey ripoff. And Shayna Baszler came out and said, I'm better than Ronda Rousey. The Ronda came out, kind of stared at her. And they ended up beating the crap out of Natalia. And then, LA Knight did a backstage interview, and then he got asked about the Bray Wyatt thing. He refused to talk about it. He said, that's in the past. We're going into the future. And then he did his famous line, yeah! Which I love, by the way. And then you had Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green in a tag team. By the way, Sonya Deville, I can't stand her. She is not a good wrestler. We'll see what they do with Chelsea Green. They have her playing a counter right now. I mean, Sonya Deville is too, but Chelsea Green's even worse. Chelsea Green, by the way, is married to Zack Ryder, or his real name is Matt Cardona, for those of you who aren't familiar. Then you had in a Fatal 4 match, Madcap Moss fended off Rey Mysterio, Karrion Kross, and Santos Escobar. And next week, not next week at this point, on Friday, on SmackDown, he will challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. My money is on Gunther. He should have no problem winning that match. And by the way, as the show went off the air. Paul Heyman, Fan Musso said, he wants them to watch on TV. Him and he used to watch on TV because sometimes you see things on TV you don't see when they're there. I wonder if he had his eye on Sami Zayn and he saw their interaction. So we'll see what happens. And before we close up the show, Monday Night Raw recap. You had you had Cody Rhodes. You had Sami Zayn come out and he called out Cody Rhodes, and Cody comes out and this is what you want to talk about, which he did last time too, which I thought was very funny. And then they're talking about how he might remember if he beat Roman Reigns, he would fight Cody WrestleMania and not Roman. And Cody asked him, like, do you think he can beat him? Sam was like, I don't know. He's like, I've been side by side with him. Like, God mode is not a joke. I've been in the playing room with them. Dude's a beast. And then they had a outstanding promo. And then Cody Rhodes says, I want to see you on Monday Night Raw because I want to see you at WrestleMania. So very, very interesting moment there. Was a great promo, by the way. Awesome promo. Interesting to see what Triple H does with Sami Zayn. If he builds him correctly, this could be Sami Zayn the storyline could be monumental. It could be one of the greatest storylines WWE's ever had. Then Baron Corbin was crap talking Cody Rhodes backstage. Cody Rhodes, beat him up. They ended up having a match. Cody Rhodes in his street clothes beat Baron Corbin, who JBL doesn't have JBL anymore. I'm surprised. I thought people are saying they pulled the plug on the JBL Baron Corbin thing. Like, I thought JBL was hilarious. I thought he was doing a good job, but Baron Corbin, you need to realize, Baron Corbin is not the guy that we thought he was going to be when he first came up. When he first came up from NXT and he won the Under Giant Battle Royale, they thought he was going to be like this absolute stud, and it just really hasn't happened. Because like the problem is he cannot play a babyface. He's got to be a heel. He's a okay heel. He physically cannot play a face. He just can't. So it's either have him be a mediocre heel, or if you're gonna be a face, you might as well just cut him at that point. So he really isn't that good, to be honest. I think he's a bit overrated. Like he's a decent heel. That the Happy Corbin thing was okay. The Sad Corbin thing was actually I thought that was actually a very good storyline. The Monday Wrestling God, I think him and JBL worked very well together, but they thought it wasn't getting any traction, so that's why they pulled the plug. You could argue it was a little too soon. I really don't. I don't really mind, to be honest, them pulling the plug. He's not that good of a wrestler. The main event was a triple threat match between Bayley, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair. If Bayley or Becky won, they got added to Elimination Chamber. If Bianca won, they both don't qualify, and Bianca won, so they both do not qualify. You had the Judgment Day beat the Street Profits in a tag team match. And then you had, they started beating up the Street Profits after the match. Then Edge came out with Beth Phoenix, and they started cleaning house. But then Rhea Ripley had a riptide on Beth Phoenix. So interesting what happens at the mixed tag team match in Elimination Chamber, which would be Edge and Beth Phoenix against Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. You had interesting contract selling. You had Brock come out. Adam Pearce is introducing Brock as like Pearce just cut to the chase. Bob comes out with his security team. He put a desk right at the top of the stage. Like, I had everyone look it over, and then Bobby's like, Brock's like, dude, just sign the contract, and then I was like, come down and bring it to me. So then he did. His security team jumped Brock. Then Brock beat the crap out of him, but then Lashley speared Brock Lesnar and then signed it. So Lashley versus Brock, Part 3 at the Elimination Chamber. You had Piper and Nevin defeat Michi in a one-on-one match. I'm very happy Piper Nevin's back, by the way. You had a Sex Woman tag team match. Nikki Cross, Carmella, and Asuka defeat Natalya, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan. Asuka, decided to attack her partners during the match, but then she made Liv Morgan tap out. So Asuka, she might win that Elimination Chamber. I mean, I would love Bianca versus Asuka. That would be an incredible match. You had the Miz host Seth Rollins on Miz TV. Then eventually Austin Theory ran in and jumped Seth Rollins. Then Seth Rollins, he curbs up the Miz, but then Austin Theory hit him with an 8-count down. And Rick Boogs defeated the Miz in a one-on-one match. Gotta love Rick Boogs. Rick Boogs! That's how I'll end the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I'll see y'all on Friday. We'll most likely have Justin on here, so get ready for that. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.